Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this beautiful daisy granny square. This pattern I kind of made up myself with a lot of help from various granny square designers on the internet, so yeah, I just kind of pieced it together to make it look like this really cool daisy. As you can see, I'm in the process of making so many of them because I'm working on a pretty big project with them. But I thought, why not show you how to make it so you can also get going and start making lots of these, a few of these. I think they're really fun and spring is coming, so what a great way to brighten up the winter months. So to make these, I use cotton yarn. In fact, I think it's a cotton cotton polyester blend, so it's the Cotton Light by Drops. You can use any cotton yarn, or acrylic, whatever your preference is. I have mixed reviews on this yarn, which you'll see in a second because the strings kind of come apart as you're crocheting, and depending on your technique, that's a bigger or smaller problem. So I'm using this because I have lots of it, so I'm just gonna go for it. And I do like the way it looks and the way it feels. I don't think it looks like polyester at all. I think it feels very cottony, it looks very cottony, and I like that about it. So I'm gonna use two colors. You could also make it in multiple colors, I guess, if you want to, but I'm gonna be using white and then this ochre, yellowy beige color to make my nice little daisy squares. So to start off with, you're gonna start with your yellow yarn, or it's worked inside out, so whichever you want the inside to be. I've yet to weave in this yarn, so that's why it looks a little bit uneven. And you're gonna create a magic circle. So you do that by wrapping the end around your two first and second fingers around like this, going under the first loop, picking up the second loop, pulling it through, and then do a slip stitch right here. Pull that nice and tight. And essentially into this magic circle, you're gonna do 12 double crochets. So the first double crochet is 3 chains actually. So you do 3 chains, that counts as your first double crochet. So 2 and 3. And then you're just gonna do 11 more double crochets into that magic loop. So here's my last double crochet for this magic circle. There we go. Next thing is you're gonna tighten that circle right here, and you're gonna go back into those 3 chains from the beginning, so into the third one of those, and then you're gonna slip stitch to close the circle. Then cut your yarn quite generously because you'll be weaving in that end later, and pull that through to fasten off. So now you have the first row, which is just a pretty basic way to start any granny square, I guess, consisting of 12 double crochets into your magic loop. Okay, so after my 12 double crochets, I'm going to switch color to the white to start the daisy part of it. The daisies are worked in triple or treble crochets, and essentially you always crochet 3 trebles together. So I'll show you how to start. So when I change my color, I usually just pull it through right like this. I know people do knots and slip stitches and other things, but for me this works. I weave in the end anyways, and I hold it right here when I'm working, so I don't find that it kind of goes loose or I lose it or anything like that, so it works for me. It's just a little bit faster. If you're used to doing a knot or a slip stitch, by all means do that right here. I'm going to continue with 4 chains, so 1, 2, 3, 4. and that's gonna count as my first treble crochet right here. So what I do, so this is the end yarn of the yellow, so I'm gonna kind of take that with me here, just so I have to do a little bit less weaving at the end. I'm gonna do a treble crochet into that same hole as where I started with the white yarn. So that looks like wrapping your yarn around twice, going into the hole, pulling it through, and as if you would double crochet, but just one more essentially. So your first one, you're going through the first 2 loops, the second one through your second 2 loops, and instead of pulling the third 2 loops together, you're not going to do that. You're going to start your third treble crochet into that same hole. So same thing, pull through once, twice, 3 times. And for your first set of 3, because it's the chain of 4 with it, you'll have 3 loops on your hook, and to finish it off you're gonna crochet them together. So essentially just yarn over one more time and then pull it through all 3. Perfect. And that's how you treble crochet 3 together. Well, 2 and the chain, but continuing we'll treble crochet 3 together. Then you're going to chain 2 and into the next gap of your double crochets of the first loop, so for me it's right here, you're going to treble crochet 3 together. So like I mentioned, this yarn I take with me here. If that's too complicated for you, just let it go to the back and then weave it in later. So 3 treble crochets, wrap it around twice, go into the hole, pull it through once, twice, 3 times, keep those 2 loops. Do your second one. So 1, 2, 3. Now you're gonna have 3 loops on your hook right here. You're gonna do a third treble crochet though. So you're gonna go in here, 1, 2, 3. Once you have 4 loops on your hook, you're gonna crochet them together. So you see in the first one it was just 3 hooks because of that starting chain, but from here on it's gonna be 4 loops that you're gonna pull 1 through right here. And that is how you treble crochet 3 together. Chain 2 again, and continue doing that around the whole way until you hit the beginning again. You'll have 12 kind of clusters of 3 treble crochets with 2 chains in between. So I'll meet you there. So I've just finished my 12th cluster of 3 treble crochets, and instead of doing 2 chains after this one, I'm just going to chain 1, and then I'm going to slip stitch back into the 4th chain of my first treble crochet cluster, which is the chain fake faux treble crochet, I guess. And now I'm right here, so I've slip stitched here, and I'm gonna fasten off my yarn, or cut off my yarn again, and then fasten off. So pull that through right here. Okay, so now it doesn't really look like a flower or like a daisy just yet, but that will come once you add the next few rows, or the next 2 rows of the ochre colored yarn. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that again, and I'm gonna go into the hole right here, so right before my my 4 chain fake treble crochet right here. Pull that through, and then chain 3, because we're going to be working in double crochets from here on. So I'm going to go into that same hole with 2 more double crochets, so I have 3 in total. There we go. And that's my first cluster of 3 double crochets here. I am not going to do any chains in between, so I'm going to go straight into the next hole with my next double crochet, my second one, and my third one. So this whole round is worked in clusters of 3 double crochets. Right here, I'm actually going to work my corner, so I'm going to chain 1 after my first 3, and then do another 3 double crochets into that same hole. Now I have 1 cluster of 3, my second cluster of 3. Into the next 2 bigger holes between my treble crochet clusters, I'm going to go in with 3 double crochets. So 3 and 3 here, and then we're going to do the next corner right here. Because we have 12 petals of the flower here, we have 4 sides, and they're going to be of like 3, 3, 3, 3 to make up the 12. So 2 clusters of 3 double crochets into the next 2 holes. Okay, so here are my 6 with the 1 chain in between, 3, 3, and I'm going to work the next corner into here. So same thing as before, 3 double crochets, 1 chain, and then 3 more double crochets all into that corner. You can kind of start seeing how it's pulling the petals together, so it's starting to look like a flower here, and you can also kind of see the corners emerging. We'll really flesh those corners out in the next round. So just continue that all the way until you reach the beginning. So it's always 2 sets of 3, and then your corner, which is also 2 sets of 3 into the same hole with a chain in between. So I'll meet you back right here at the beginning. So I just reached the last gap here, and to join to the beginning again, I'm gonna find the 3rd chain that I made for the first fake double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and I'm gonna slip stitch through here. Now I'm not gonna cut my yarn here because we're gonna add another row of this color. So from here, after my slip stitch, I'm just gonna chain 3. And then, so I'm not gonna work into this hole of the chain, I'm gonna work into the next hole with 3 double crochets again. Okay, and now we're gonna shape the corners. So it's the same concept as the corner before, but just instead of 1 chain in between, we're gonna do 3 chains. So first, 3 double crochets, and then you're gonna chain 3. It might feel like that's a lot for a corner if you're used to chaining 2 or just 1 for a corner, but trust me, it'll give you a really nice straight edge and a nice shaped corner. So after my 3 chains, I'm gonna go back into this hole with another 3 double crochets. You can kind of see here how my yarn, the strings are coming apart, so I hope you don't have that problem. It's just the yarn that I'm using. I don't mind it too much because of my, how I crochet, but I know some people really struggle with that, so yeah. Okay, so now I've shaped my first corner. You can already see how that's really looking like a corner now. And you're gonna do that on top of every corner that you made in the previous round. So what that means now is that there's gonna be 3 clusters of 3 double crochets between every corner. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then into that corner right here, I'm gonna do 3 double crochets, 3 chains, and then another 3 double crochets. And I'm gonna do that the whole way around. However, meet me after you've just finished your 4th corner. And then I'll show you how to finish it off with this chain that's kind of individually hanging around right here, right now. So I'll meet you there. So I've just gone ahead and finished my 4th corner, And now we have one more gap of 3 double crochets. And next, so into this last gap, this is actually going to count as our 3rd double crochet. So you're just going to do 2 double crochets into that gap. And then find the 3rd chain of that and slip stitch through here. Cut your yarn and fasten off. And there you go. Now you've finished your daisy granny square. So I hope this tutorial made sense. I think it's a really easy and very effective granny square. Of course, you have to weave in the ends because you're doing 2 rows of the same color. I guess there is less ends than there would be if you did if you changed color every single row. And I think these look so nice, and especially when combined with multiple of them, they can be really, really pretty for spring or even for blankets, jackets, little pencil cases. I think these are super versatile, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see what you made out of them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!